Hi, I'm James from Bellrock. I help leaders understand the intersection of where risk meets people. Today, I'm here with Michelle Faithful, who is the chair of Hunter Homeless Connect, among many other things. You wear a lot of hats. So Michelle, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I'm just going to launch straight into it.
Yeah, sure.
And go with the icebreaker, I guess. So if you're at a barbecue and you're with people that don't know anything about the work you do or the sectors you work in, how would you explain to them, or how would you respond when someone says, "What do you do, Michelle?"
Great question. I'm someone who wears many hats in the community, so I guess it depends on what barbecue I'm at.
Yeah, right.
Who's asking the question, and as to what hat I'll probably put on.
Yeah.
So yes, I work in the community services space, obviously, and in my personal life, I have a lot to do with various charities and community organisations,
Yeah.
and so across all levels, all sectors as well. I would probably say the easiest thing for me to explain what I do is I'm a connector of people and for purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Because I think so much of that, don't you reckon, that people get, because we talked about the whole purpose of these interview series is, or this interview series is to not get lost in the technical side
Yeah.
of risk and governance. But I think so much of what the charities and for-purpose sector does is bringing people together, as in like connecting people with services, connecting people with people. But it's all, it all comes back to people.
Yeah, absolutely does.
Yeah. So no, that's great to hear. Well, I want to move on and kind of keep the flow going with that,
Sure.
actually, and go. Well, so yeah, talk to us about what are some of the hats that you wear.
Yeah. Well, I'm employed by a community housing provider, so I guess the primary place for me in amongst the community service sector is Home in Place. So
Yeah.
I'm the events and partnerships manager at Home in Place, and part of my role is sponsored to coordinate an annual event for a charity called Hunter Homeless Connect.
Right.
And that brings together many people across the sector, services,
Yep.
volunteer organisations that will bring people together who are in people who need to access those services under the one roof on the one day. And that event's called Hunter Homeless Connect Day. So I guess there's a couple of hats there. I've been coordinating and been very privileged to be able to coordinate that event for the last 10 years. This is my 10th year. And I organically have become chairperson of the charity, as you do.
Yeah.
And this is my 5th year as being chairperson of that charity.
It's amazing. What do they say? It's always, when you see a really busy but organised person, they're the ones that always end up being given more work or asked to do more things.
Oh, I don't know about. Look, I hate the word busy. I think I like to think that I lead a full life.
Yeah.
And that crosses into my personal life as well.
Yes.
In the charitable space, I've been fundraising for a very long time, 16 or so years, for various charities as well.
Yeah.
So being a community fundraiser as well, and across a lot of different charities.
Wow. Yeah.
And that other space, I suppose, is bringing people together for other purposes in terms of being a civil marriage celebrant.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different spaces for me.
But I feel like, is it fair to say then that your common theme, I guess, including the marriage celebrant stuff, is it's literally bringing people,
Absolutely,
bringing people together and connecting them.
Yeah. And for so many different purposes,
Yeah.
and usually the positive impact on community is my focus.
Yeah.
And positive experiences for people as well.
Yeah. Oh no, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, I often have some people look at me strangely, and this isn't being critical in any respect to local government professionals, but some people look at me and go, "Oh, why would you want to work with that sector?" Basically for what you described is the same reason that motivates me to want to work with local government, is because they're so critical in terms of placemaking and providing services so that communities can operate, that it's like if you don't have a good local government in place, communities would socially and logistically just disintegrate.
Absolutely. I work with local government a lot in my work, and also in the personal space as well. They're vital. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. And am I allowed to tell me about the morning swim stuff? Because I do see that now and again on social media, and I really like it.
Oh, we're famous now.
Oh, world famous in Newcastle?
Yeah. So the swimming has been going a very long time.
Yeah.
Sunrise is my time of day.
Yeah.
And I started sunrise swimming, I don't know, over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's become a bit of a thing. It's grown, and there are a lot of different swimming communities out there, and some of them are a little bit more professional than us. We tend to just float around and chat, so we've called ourselves the Dumplings. And it's become a bit of a movement. Some people call it a cult, but look, it's a beautiful way to start the day, and to have those conversations and debrief with your friends and people who become your friends.
Yeah. Where do you do that?
At Bar Beach.
At Bar.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you guys? Because I'm part of Bar Reef Board Riders. I always look at. Are you guys that group that often just kind of cruises around inside the old nets there? Like
in the granny pool?
Yeah.
Yep, that's us.
Ah, okay, all right. Well, that's it. Because it's interesting. Because there's some connections. Some of the older Bar Reef guys are also part of that as well and swim with it. But I think the thing I always look at with those sunrise swimmer groups is like it's kind of in a way it's not about the swimming, even though the ocean is obviously
that's
a
the draw
hugely
card.
Therapeutic place, but it's about the community and the conversation that happens after the swimming or during the swimming. Yeah.
And don't start on the group chat situation. There's lots of group chats that go on, but it's a community building place as well. Like it really is. And the thing about that is there's nothing else around. It's just the water holding us and those conversations and the laughter.
Yeah.
And it's just the most grounding way to start a day.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I think God, I don't want to give Matt Linnett too many plugs here. But
good old Matt.
Yeah, good old Matt. We'll give him another book plug. But yeah, I think he and I, because obviously we're both surfers as well, we talk about that transference, and I know it's a bit hippy-dippy, but I reckon it's absolutely legitimate, that there's just so much energy in the water, and you think about it globally or even as the Pacific or the Tasman Sea, that if your energy's unbalanced, that the process of immersing yourself in that water actually rebalances and brings your energy into equilibrium.
It's the ion exchange.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
it.
It's like
there is truth in that.
Years ago, and it's sort of like a silly, young lad story. Had friends, when I lived in Sydney, had friends come over from the US that were like from the Midwest, and they were like musos and pretty famous hip hop guys, but they'd never had that concept of going out and having a big night out with your mates, and then the next day going and like rinsing off your sins in the ocean, and sitting and eating like a bacon and egg roll and having a coffee on the sand. And one of them, it was literally like a life-changing experience for him. He's like, I have never experienced that before, because it's very different to say swimming in a lake or a river.
Absolutely.
Or a pool.
You can't compare.
No. Even just, I talk about it a lot with my partner, even if we're walking along the beach with the kids. There's something so sort of ASMR and therapeutic about that relentless sound. Even when we're walking along the dog beach on Sunday with her dog, and you're just hearing this like that relentless that white noise, and it's just so therapeutic.
So it's ritualistic for me, and I know when the days that I'm, for whatever reason, I haven't been in, I notice it, I feel it.
Yeah. Agree. I mean, Michelle, I feel like we could just probably yak and yarn all day about that, and probably just waste a couple of hours talking about how good it is being in the ocean. So I guess you should move on a little bit. But so, I guess, what is it that motivates you to continue showing up for the charity space? Because we know now working in it myself, it's pretty hard yakka at times, challenging, can feel unrewarding. You've got a lot of government scrutiny, and at the moment, I think a lot of government attempts to use various sectors as political footballs. What keeps you turning up? Look,
truth be told, there's a lot of burnout in the sector, and that's pretty obvious, and most people in the sector know that. And for me, showing up, relationships, I guess, are my currency. And
I love it.
That's, someone said that to me the other day, and I thought, that's a really good, that's me to a T. It's what I do, and as I said previously, it goes across all of my life, my working life, my personal life. And I think, I see the good in people, and innately as humans, we do want to help each other. And I see so much of that in the community services sector. And it's why all of us keep showing up for others. And I think, the world's in a bit of a mess,
It certainly
we're all
feels that way
feeling
at
it.
the moment.
But it's when I get to work with like-minded people in the sector on events like Hunter Homeless Connect,
Yeah,
for example.
yeah.
I get to work with a whole range of people across the community services sector and also businesses, other organisations
Yeah.
who want to be involved in having a positive impact in somebody else's life or on the community as a whole. So
yeah,
that very thing drives me. That's what gets me
Yeah.
out of bed,
yeah,
to be involved in having that impact and the outcomes in community
yeah.
that help other people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I think about some of my first experiences volunteering in the charity space. I thought I was doing it as, I'm doing it to kind of, pay it forward, do my duty
Yeah.
because I've had a good life, that sort of thing. But what I wasn't prepared for was the impact on me. And I think a lot of people talk about that. You just come out beaming.
Well,
And it's like,
it's
and
true.
I think it's okay that you're allowed to enjoy the fact that
Yeah.
you feel like you've done something positive to the community and you feel
Yeah.
bloody good doing it.
Well, it ticks the boxes internally, doesn't it? Like
Yeah.
you feel, it makes you feel good.
Yeah,
But volunteering has changed the trajectory of my life. That's why
Yeah.
I'm sitting here talking to you today.
wow.
So
okay.
that's where it all started for me as
yeah,
well.
yeah. As in, do you mean that like if you hadn't started volunteering, you wouldn't have made the sort of career transitions to be where
Absolutely.
you are now?
And the
Yeah.
fundraising and getting involved in
Yeah.
the charitable space.
Yeah,
But also, it's how it's made me feel personally, but that impact that you can collaboratively have
yeah,
on a community when you're involved with some of these charities and the organisations doing those things. So
Mm.
yeah, it's there's a lot of layers to it, but
Yeah.
it starts, it's a personal experience for me. It started many years ago when I lost a child and decided I wanted to give back one day,
yeah.
and that didn't happen until I moved to Newcastle. So
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
what
Where-
started that.
North Queensland originally?
Far North Queensland, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
FNQ.
Yeah, FNQ. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I know, because obviously we've got a lot of shared history. I remember straight after the first COVID lockdown, and that was when Collective Heart was still running,
Yes.
and they were working out of the old Soul Kitchen
Yep.
in bottom of Watt Street. And Sue ran one of those cooking day events with the refugee group, and I took my daughter there. And it was just interesting to see, just even the impact on my daughter both ways as well. But it was just like an immensely positive experience. And it's almost like at the moment, with everything just feels really hostile and everyone's
Yeah.
in conflict with each other, we probably need to do more of those really basic, just let's go and eat food together and,
Yeah.
hang around and realise how much we've actually got in common rather
Yeah.
than the differences we have.
Yeah, it's that human connection
Yeah.
and listening,
Yeah.
active listening and stories, and we are pretty much the same underneath, most of us. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say all of us, but
No. There's some
let's
unique
not go down
ones.
that path. But yeah,
There's a couple that come to
Yeah.
mind we won't name.
we're
Yeah.
not saying those
Yeah,
names.
yeah.
But yeah, it is, and that form of connect and the opportunities, and that's what I love about being able to facilitate a space
Yeah.
for people to connect and
Yeah.
to come together. So and the magic happens there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you and I are both preaching to the choir, but I think it's, hopefully for the people watching, it's like an encouragement, because I think volunteering in general is down a fair bit, and I think concessional contributions to charities are down from a dollars
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
But I think I read somewhere recently that volunteering in general is down.
I don't know. I guess
No?
it depends on the cause,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
organisations, and
Yeah.
what it is that people are doing.
Yeah.
COVID probably had an impact
Yeah.
on some of that to a
Yeah.
certain degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And the dollar side of things for charities,
mm.
the contributions, and
Yeah.
if you want to start to talk about that, well, I can certainly add my views on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll add them. Tell me.
Well, working in the charity space now, and chairperson of Hunter Homeless Connect, for example,
Yeah.
every year we're looking for money to run the event. It costs
Yeah,
us a lot
yeah.
of money to put that event on, and I guess the landscape has changed in the past 10 years for me running that event, and
Yeah.
where that money's coming from and the amount of that money, and having to now look at diversifying that income in many different places. If you're relying on one, like once upon a time, the big corporates would be handing out
Yeah,
all sorts of
yeah.
big money. It's not that way now, and for charities, it's a real challenge to find what they need, and it's from more organisations that we need to find it from. So it's a lot more hard work.
Yeah. And well, I mean, that probably naturally leads on to would you say that's one of the biggest talking about challenges for
Yeah.
the sector, is that one of the bigger challenges that you think it faces? Because obviously if you're dealing with NDIS type businesses, there's instability there, but you guys are relying on direct fundraising. Is
Yeah.
that how it operates?
Well,
Or direct contribution, I guess you would.
I guess, Hunter Homeless Connect's a little bit different because, I guess the issue of homelessness is something that's resonating with a lot of people, and and for some of the charities where it might not be an attractive option for somebody to be
Yeah,
involved with.
yeah.
It depends on the cause. For us, we're very fortunate that we have some larger organisations that really want to be involved, and what we're seeing now changing is, yes, we have to diversify our income streams, but we also are finding that organisations are sending their teams along to engage and volunteer in the event. So that landscape has changed as well, where tangible outcomes for their staff is something that they're really focusing on, as well as providing a financial support as well.
Well, I think it's an interesting point, because that's definitely the change I've seen. I mean, even with Bellrock, but certainly with our clients as well, that as the younger generation comes through the workforce, that's the sort of stuff that they're actually quite engaged by. So if they know that your organisation, your team knows that your organisation's supporting this cause, and you get to go and be directly involved in working on it or whatever, that seems hugely appealing.
Yeah, and the personal outcomes for them as well. But
Yeah.
it's more of a package deal for us anyway.
Yeah. Okay. And what are the other challenges without getting too down in the weeds on it? Because I think both of us feel that sometimes that governance and risk space can be incredibly dry. Like what are the other sort of core challenges you see for the sector?
Look, I think I'll reference Hunter Homeless Connect again. We're a volunteer board, and governance and compliance is something that we really need to be careful with. I mean, we don't have the funds and resources to dedicate to that space. So that's just something that we really need to keep having that level of understanding of what we're doing. Are we doing it well? Are we doing it within? Are we complying with the regulations? And making sure that our board members are skilled enough to be for us to be competent in that space.
Well, I think it's one of the previous ACNC commissioners, like the Charities Commission, has this great quote I read somewhere that's something along the lines of, volunteer or directors that are non-remunerated, or volunteer directors, need to understand that their absence of remuneration doesn't diminish their accountability, and that's like burnt into my head, because obviously I'm on a volunteer board too, and you just kind of go, oh man, there's a lot on the line. There
is a lot on the line,
and I think personally, I think that it's not me criticising, but I think the general public often doesn't fully realise how much skin in the game all of us are putting to be able to make sure that these organisations run and deliver the service to the community. Not playing poor us or anything, but I think that you'd be silly to underestimate what you're actually putting on the line in terms of risk. So yeah. All right, and I just think we could go down so many rabbit holes here, Michelle, and I feel like
I'm good at that.
Oh, but there's sidebars on sidebars. That's great. So I guess the last one, and arguably for me, I think the most important one, because obviously this series is about people and about motivators and the thinking behind decisions and all this sort of stuff. So if you're writing a note to your younger self, what are the 3 things that you'd put in that note, or they can be more than 3, I guess, that you wish you knew as a young adult that you know now, whether professionally, personally, or a bit of a mixture of both?
Okay, that's a good question.
It's not a trick question.
No, okay, that's good. Vulnerability. I think that it's actually a superpower. It's not a weakness. That's how I feel now. Yeah. Once upon a time, when you're young, you don't necessarily see it that way. Yeah. But I think it's a connector.
Yes.
It's something that connects you deeply with others when you are able to be vulnerable in front of others. So I think that for me is a big thing for my adult life.
Yeah, God, that's big. Cause
yeah,
it's
I know.
And I think it's accurate as well, because I mean, personally and as a guy as well, I totally agree with you that being able to be vulnerable has been a challenge for me for a lot of my adult life, but being able to embrace that, absolutely. You go to a place and are able to connect with people in
Yeah.
totally different ways.
Yeah.
Because we're all human and we all make mistakes.
We
and,
absolutely are.
and we all get sad and happy
Yeah.
sometimes and in between.
And it's that resonation of that when you're talking to somebody and
Yeah.
then you have that commonality where, you know, experiences and things
Yeah.
like that. And it does it. That connection factor in that is huge.
Amazing.
Mm.
So what else you got?
So the other one is authenticity.
Yeah.
You know, the world doesn't need a polished version of ourselves.
Yeah,
It needs
yeah.
the real us.
Yeah.
And for me, that took a bit of time to
Yeah,
get to that
yeah,
point.
yeah.
But recognising that and understanding the value in that
Yeah.
is, it's also very liberating. You
Yeah.
know, when you're able to be authentic, your authentic self,
Yeah.
and to show up in that way. You know, it's something that's. I don't know. It might come easy to some, but you know, and it hasn't come easy for me.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a journey over the years, but it's certainly I've reached that point now where I'm happy and comfortable in my space.
Well, I think it's interesting you say that, because I would hazard a guess to say that any of us that have worked in that corporate world, it can be a challenge because you get
Yeah.
used to putting on masks and
Yeah.
building sort of defensive layers around yourself because that's just the world.
Yeah.
But I think the good for purpose entities that I've come across, people are very authentic and. You know, it's not about going silly with it, but about
Yeah.
being your real self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the outcomes of that, you start to trust that process too.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and I guess that leads into my third,
Yeah.
where it is trust. You know, trust the course. Stay on the course,
Yeah.
because you can connect the dots later.
Yeah.
It's like you see that later,
Yes. Yeah.
but trying to, I guess, interpret that when you're younger and looking into the future, but having that retrospective look and just stay on the course, because you know, things will work out generally, and you know, they can be challenging. We all have our challenges
Yeah,
and experiences in life that can be really tough.
Yeah.
But you're going through those is part of life, and then getting through the other side is something
Yeah.
that's really, and to be able to reflect and connect the dots is really, and I've been doing that a lot, you know, the last 20 years or so, really, just to connect those dots and
Yeah.
understand my purpose in
Yeah.
life and where that has come from experiences,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I know it sounds like a cliche, but I've got this Zen phrase that I love throwing at people, which is the lemons fall long before the plums ripen. And
Oh, absolutely, that's a good one. I like that.
yeah. It's obviously it's clearly not mine,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it just relates to what you said, that you know things happen when they're meant to happen, and they happen at different timelines,
Yeah.
not when you're trying to
Yeah.
force them to
Yeah.
happen. But
Yeah, and yeah, I guess forcing or wanting certain outcomes, or being impatient about those things, but you know, to be able to step back and I guess, you know, midlife is very different to when you're young
Yeah,
and accumulating and achieving, and then the second phase of your life where you're more reflective and wanting to contribute, and it's more purposeful. I mean, that's not for everybody, but that's the way my life has gone.
yeah.
And I think there's a lot more that you can contribute in different ways, and all of those things, being authentic and vulnerable, and that really helps.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, about you say that sort of, your 20s and 30s are all about sort of, you know, trajectory up and achieve and amass and stuff like that. And then you hit, I think most of us go through it, you hit your 40s and you kind of go, oh. Well, I definitely had the whole like, is that it? Type.
Yeah.
Where it's like you follow the formula and you go, all right, I've ticked all those boxes, and you go, I still don't feel great.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's some really interesting podcasts and things that I know about that, and it's a thing for all of us.
Yeah.
And we reach it at different times, obviously, and depending on the work that we're doing. Or I'm very fortunate to be able to work in that purposeful space. So everything aligns for me in my personal space as well. So I get what I need as well in the working space. So, but it flows over into the personal life as well. I just find myself connecting with people everywhere, and it's what I do.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. What is it? Youth is wasted on the young.
It so is. It totally is.
Nice. All right. Well, we better wrap it up there. But thank you
you.
so much for joining me, Michelle. And I feel like we could let's just roll it for another couple of hours and keep going and go like one of those like nifty American style like visual podcasts that goes for 3 hours and we talk about everything.
I'd love to do that.
Okay.
Have me back another time.
Okay, done. We'll do it. Okay. No worries.
Thanks,
all right.
James.
Thanks.
Cool.
Happy with that?
Yeah, I'm all right with that as long as you are.
Yep.
There's nothing else